One lady who's sleeping her first night with her family in one of our beautiful houses, as I was walking away and she heard a bit of chat about the rain, she pulled me back and she said, "You know, the next time it rains, I'm going to bring all my neighbours into this house." Another... For 8 blitzes, every single day after the trip is over, I walk the empty site without you, and we get back and ready for another year of building houses. And that feeling is a very strange feeling because, you know, most of you hopefully are on the planes home at that time. And people ask me all the time, what is it like, you know, when the guys have gone back home again? And I look at every wall, I look at every window and every door, and I see all of you. I see you working away painting them. I see you standing inside putting up the slabs. And this year, more than any other year, I see the flags you painted on the front doors. Many of the people who got our houses said that the Irish will be forever etched in our hearts. And even if they go back, they never leave us. And so many of them have said to me, you know, where's Brian or Jack or Paddy? And the amount of people in our different communities who've exchanged mobile phone numbers and connected permanently with our volunteers is a testament that the people who live in these communities do not regard you as tourists coming in. They regard you as their friends and their people and their best friends, the friends who came and built them beautiful homes. And when you think about a house, what greater gift could somebody give to a friend than to help provide them with a home? You know, the years that these people have lived in shacks sometimes goes over my head. You know, when you hear 10 or 12 years, or many times 20 years or 25 years, how can you imagine that 6 short days can change all of that forever? And yet those of us who've been part of this crazy journey for the past 7 or 8 years have been so privileged to go back to some of the houses, to watch the young people qualifying through college because they now have a roof over their head that doesn't blow off at night, and to watch the men get up out of bed with dignity and pride and an extra pace in their step to go out and find work. And what we're doing is so simple. There's nothing to it. There's no rocket science. There's no big fancy report needed. It's simply one human being to another saying that I believe it's unacceptable that you are living in a shack. And I've been so lucky. I think we're saying it in the rough guide, a year or two after I started, you know, I got to meet people like Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu. And I look at what these men have done and what many others like Walter Sisulu and Oliver Tambo. I mean, this country is rich with the very best people who strived for peace. I sat in Nelson Mandela's sitting room one time and we asked him, you know, why didn't you rebel? Why didn't you have a civil war and to ensure freedom for your people? And he just looked at me and he said that millions would have been killed. And I decided I'd spend my whole life in prison rather than see that happen. And we never wanted, you know, white people to go. We simply wanted to be equal. And for many reasons, this country deserves our continued support. 15 years have passed, and this government have built 2.5 million houses. But for the 2 million people, families still living in shacks, there's a lot more to be done. And for those of you who've been with our journey for 6 or 7 years, you will remember the subsidy was only 11,000 Rand when we started. And now this government gives a subsidy of over 60,000 for every house. And I can tell you that part of that huge increase is down to you people sitting here in this room. Many members of the South African government have said to me that our project has inspired them what can be done. The Premier of the Western Cape at our Blitz last December, you know, said to me in a nice joking way that her biggest headache is our houses. She's a very committed lady, and she said that no other township will accept anything other than the Niall Mellon houses. And but these are not my houses, they're your houses. You have sweated to build them, you've made it possible, and so many, many sacrifices have been made to make this week possible. I have never had a week where I've listened to all the people who I've walked around to shake hands and have a couple of minutes chat with, who told me of the huge, huge effort they made to get here, and it has taken its toll. And we were very lucky. A year and a half ago, Irish Aid supported us with €5 million, and we're very grateful for that. But this week I made a call in the newspapers in Ireland that every one of you deserves some assistance from Irish Aid. I believe that we can support the objectives and the mission of Irish Aid, and wouldn't it be fantastic if all of you knew, by signing up, maybe only €1,000, but maybe 1,000 is enough to make the difference between you deciding to go this year or next year. But we can't make that happen without all of you lobbying and writing a letter to a minister or a politician back home, just simply saying, please support the overseas volunteers. I've been in South Africa, I want to go again, and I'd appreciate it if maybe you could help make that possible. If I can, without going over Orla's thoughtful message of thanks, I want to thank every person who's worked to make this trip so special. This afternoon, we gathered together with the foremen, the team leaders and the medics, those volunteers who have taken an extra role of responsibility. And I was able to say to them that lots of you, several of you I was talking with, asked me to thank them and just to say that your trip would not have been as good without the incredible effort all of those people made. And I don't think it's a bad thing to have one more warm appreciation of thanks to every one of our foremen, team leaders, medics, staff and logistics. And Orla, you thanked everybody, but you didn't thank yourself. And you deserve a huge, huge round of applause, and Emma and everybody else in logistics. So I hope next year you won't be defeated by the recession. You'll say, I'm going to do this week one more time. We always just try and get you 1 year at a time. And for all of us, we're part of a special family of people, just ordinary people who want to make a difference. And for those of you who've done this trip a few times, I know that it's a week that your year would be empty without it. And if you can't come, please persuade somebody else to come. Our mission here is not finished. It's far from over. And as one volunteer said to me as he got on the coach, I said to him, will you be coming back next year? And he said, I'm staying until every last shack is gone and no house will be left behind. So I just want to say, Slán na bhaile to all of you. I hope you have a safe journey home. You've done something here. You've changed the lives of 200 families forever. And more importantly, you've given hope to millions of people that many of us around the world care deeply about the plight in which they live. And I hope you will come back next year. Thank you.